Rise and shine and welcome back, everyone. So in this video I'm going to be multitasking. I'm actually going to be working on some paintings with drawings I did over the weekend, and I'm going to be addressing the psychology of terrorism, given that we just had a school shooting. When was it? Not too long ago, just days ago. And it's funny because I haven't really set my mind to even focus on that or to think about that. I think that it's unfortunate what happened, but for me, I am not one of those, I'm not like the general public who gets kind of entangled and caught up in what's being publicized on television, especially when it comes to police shootings and violence and death like that. I feel like at some point we gotta protect ourselves, protect our mind, our mental health, our well-being from those messages that are being promoted so heavily on mainstream media. So I haven't really been paying attention, but it's kind of difficult to not, at least for it to not to come on your radar, especially given that, you know, if you work amongst people, and of course there's television there. So at the hospital where I work, in our lounge on our ward, there's a television and there's staff watching the TV. And then actually when this incident happened, I was leading a therapy group, and the way it's set up is like there are windows, very thick windows, but you can see through the window, and you can see like outside, and you can see what's happening outside of the therapy room. And there's another therapy room across. So I'm looking through the window and I see across the hall where they're watching this thing unfold. And I'm like, okay, I'm leading a group, but meanwhile there's breaking news on this television regarding a school shooting, right? So I'm just like, wait a minute. Didn't we just have the Buffalo shooting at the freaking grocery store with all these elderly people? And now we have a school shooting? And before the Buffalo shooting, don't forget that we had this person that went onto the train and set off a bomb and started letting off shots on the train here in New York City. But that seemed to be pushed under the rug, which it was made me kind of skeptical. So let's see, can I multitask here in this video? But it made me kind of skeptical to wonder, like, okay, that was a black man. And that was more of a guy who was subscribed to, I think, Pan-Africanism. He has certain beliefs, you know, pro-black. And again, like I said, that was a black guy. And he went on a train in New York. Now, granted, no one died. I'm like, oh, okay. I bet for him, that was like, damn. Damn, I didn't kill anyone, right? Because I guess his intention probably was to kill people, but he didn't kill anyone, though people did get injured, from what I understand. And so that was talked about very briefly. I mean, I don't even know if that was circulating in the media more than 2 days. It's like he did the act on one day, and then the following day, like they were looking for him. They found him the next day. And then it's like when they found him, it was like, all right, that was it. They show where they show footage of them taking him in under arrest, and that was it. And I was like, interesting. Like, what happened to this mass publicity of them promoting violence? What happened to it? Like, he didn't get that for that particular terrorist, right? Granted, no one died, but I'm just like, okay, I would think that it would be circulating more in the news media for that story, and it wasn't. All right, and so then we have the Buffalo shooting, where this is a white guy goes into a grocery store in a low-income neighborhood and takes out black people. And that gets much more publicity than the situation here in New York City. It's just things like that make me question. So yes, I am going to multitask. Let's get started. So I have 4 paintings, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to finish all of them here in this video, but Yes, I have a lot to say with regard to what's happening here. And I know I have a much different perspective. So that perspective that I have is much different than most people's perspective as it relates to what's happening. And it's like, go figure, right? Like, no surprise, because I'm a different person. But this difference in perspective definitely came out in my supervision meeting that I had at the hospital where I work with my supervisor. He brought it up. Like, he wanted to talk about it. He was like, oh, you see what happened, you know, the school shooting in Texas. I'm like, okay, yeah, who hasn't seen it by now? Honestly, I didn't really care to talk about it necessarily, but it's something he wanted to talk about, so I entertained it. I'm trying to find, like, which colors I want to use. Sometimes that's the most difficult part about painting, is choosing color. I usually always use black somewhere, so I know I gotta pull that out. So I got a lot of different colors here I'm gonna be working with. Definitely need to have my paint brushes here. Funny enough, some paintings I only use one paintbrush and others I use like 7. So we'll see how it goes for this one. So I pulled out this color. Yellow hue. I got a lot of different colors. Yellow ochre, a lot of different shades of like yellow and brown. Alright, so which part, like I usually like to do the skin last. So I think I'm going to color her clothing first. And I am torn, but I think I'm going to mix some colors. I think I'm going to mix red with burnt sienna for her clothing. I think I want to do yellow too. I want to do some yellow, and I might throw some green up in there. These are different shades of green here. So I'm going to be multitasking here in this video. Alright, so let's just start with the red and the burnt sienna. I think I want to do some, should I put some gold up in there? Gold, and I have copper. But I'm kind of running low on the copper. I'm running low, so. And then bronze. Yeah, I'm definitely going to throw some bronze up in there. Alright. So, yeah, I had my supervision meeting with one of my supervisors. I actually have like 3 supervisors. I have a department supervisor, I have a clinical supervisor, and then I have a forensic, I have a clinical psychologist who's my supervisor, and I have a forensic psychologist also my supervisor. So, it's good though, because I like the forensic world. I've been exposed to that here where I work, which is, I think, kind of guiding me in the direction of what I want to do going forward as a psychologist. I like the forensic side. Granted, I have worked in the prison system before I moved back to New York. I was working in the prison in California, which I want to get into that part too. Because I have a lot of experience, I think, that feeds into my perspective on this topic here. Let's put this here. A lot of helpful, valuable experience, like professional experience. I'm gonna like a lot because there are 4 paintings that I'm gonna do. And I think what I like to do, especially if it's like a series, right? These are all women, and go figure, right? No surprise given that. A common motif in my paintings is like the feminine energy. So, with it being 4 in one series, I am going to use similar colors. So, let's do this here. But, so yeah, I'm in my supervision with the department supervisor, and he's like asking me what my thoughts are with regard to, he was like, oh, you saw this shooting? He was like, oh, that's bad. Like, this kid, the way he talks about it, it's like, this kid went in there and did that, right? And killed those students. And he's like, oh, that's so sad. And he's like expressing empathy. Like, I I feel sorry for those kids. And you guys feel free who are watching, share your comments below, share your perspective. We all have different perspectives. And you guys will see that mine is, yeah, it's very, I would say that my perspective is more balanced. I think what I've seen is that people tend to lean more towards having victim empathy, right? Which that's cool and all, but I feel like my heart goes out to the shooter. And this is nothing new, right? This is something that I felt with previous terrorist attacks. Like, my heart it typically goes out to the shooter, right? Like, the one, I think, was it Vegas? I think it was Vegas, where this guy went in there. He had a mental illness. Was it Vegas or was it the Valley in LA area? One of the two. But anyway, he went into this bar. They say he had a mental illness. I think it was bipolar. And he went in there and he just, he did the do. And it's like not too much attention was given towards like the shooter, right? And I think people are cautious to do that because they don't want to kind of create this nostalgia to reinforce the act of terrorism, which is kind of too late for that. And I think that factors into the reason why these terrorist attacks are happening in our country, and basically our country alone. When you think about it, it's like it's not happening anywhere else but here in America. Now, of course, violent things happen other places, but it's bad here, yo. I'm gonna use this brush. It's bad in America. It's like think about school shootings, right? In themselves, like, you don't see that happening other places. So let's be clear. This is a systemic issue. I'm gonna go ahead and say that up front. When it comes to these school shootings, like the thing that my supervisor did, which is what a lot of you guys have done, is to look at the shooter and look at it as this isolated event that's happening in American history, where it has to be something wrong with this person, and that's it, right? You look at this the kid that went in there and shot all these other kids, and you're like, he's the bad guy. But you don't zoom out to see what is the culture in our society. What is the culture in the household that he grew up in, right? I think that's been talked about a bit in the media in terms of what was happening in his household. And from what I hear, his mother did not raise him. Like, his mother had some issues herself with drugs. So it was this is going to be cute. It was his grandmother who raised him. Or who was raising him, at least at the time. So I think the media kind of shed light on that. But the way I saw they put a spin on it. Yeah, they tried to twist it to say, oh, it's the rap music. Now I'm looking at this kid, like, this kid, first of all, don't even look like he listens to rap music. But if he does, I would not say that is a contributing factor to why he went in there and did what he did. Alright? Now that could be my own bias, because I listen to rap music. But when you think about the number of people who listen to rap music, they're not going in and taking a fucking AR-15, 16 gun and committing a terrorist act, taking out children at a school. A lot of people listen to rap music, y'all. You got professionals that listen to rap music. So you can't say, oh, it's the rap music, right? Though rap music could be a contributing factor, but how much would you say that contributes to what we saw, what happened there in Texas, and what's happening as a pattern in our society here in America? It goes deeper than that. And I mentioned this in my other analysis that I did in looking at the psychology of terrorism here in America. I think this is the point that people are missing, right? And my supervisor, we kind of had like this back and forth discourse because he was like, "Oh, I feel so bad for those children, the victims, and this kid, he went in there and he did that, right?" And I know my supervisor, he's white, so I know he wanted to probably say this hoodlum, right? The kid was, granted, he was a kid himself, right? He was 18 years old. But this is gone. Yo, this is fire. Oh my gosh. What colors did I just mix? I just mixed burnt sienna red and, is it the bronze? This is going to be so fire, y'all. But granted, he was a kid himself, but I think he was, of Latin descent. Was he Mexican? Wouldn't be surprised given the location, right? The geographical location, the proximity to Mexico. So one can only imagine. Dude was going through some things himself with having a mother who's strung out on drugs, being raised by a grandmother, and a lot of people don't understand, like, the minds of these children who are suffering greatly. Okay, that is part of I'm looking at my source here. Though I deviated from the actual source. So I use the source as inspiration for this, but you guys are going to see like the actual outcome is going to be much different than the source. This is a challenge for me to actually multitask, to talk about this topic and to also paint, because when I paint, granted, I don't paint that much on camera live like this, but when I do paint, it's a very focused activity for me, and it's like kind of spiritual. It's sacred for me. So, this is like my anti-drug. Painting is my anti-drug. Painting is just the way that I meditate. So as I'm talking about this, like, and I'm painting, it's a challenge because I'm really focused here. And I'm meditating while I'm painting, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I realize that I've started this topic that I'm talking about. My weird idea to do this in conjunction. Alright, I think I want to do something. Do I want to do something different for the bottom? Or do I just want to make this like one long dress? I could make that as a top and then the bottom like a skirt. Or I could just make it a long dress. Why is this so difficult, Danielle? So I'll make it one long dress. This is simple. But yeah, not much attention has been given to like this kid in terms of expressing empathy towards him. And I had to say to my supervisor, like, I said, I feel actually bad for the kid who did it, because when you think of the mind, like, what does it take? The mind of a person to go in and to kill that number of people at one time. And then we look at like the demographic of the victims. These are children. Like, think of the mindset of a person like that. I think people are missing it because they're like, oh, he's a criminal, like he's bad. No, the mind of a person that's going in to do something like that has to be very sick. He was hurt himself. The saying is true, hurting people hurt other people, yo. They say that he was being bullied. And then you'll have people to say, oh, well, you can't just attribute it to bullying. No, bullying plays a major role. And that's what I feel like y'all are gaslighting this person, yo. It's like people are being gaslighted when they say that, oh, I've been bullied, and then they go out and they pretty much do to other people what's been done to them, right? They make other people feel the pain that they felt. Now, one can say, oh, well, that's disproportionate, right? When he was bullied, he wasn't killed, right? He wasn't tortured and slaughtered and, and his fucking brains and heart shot out. No, but maybe that's how he felt though, right? People undermine the negative impacts of bullying, but yo, bullying is still an issue. You got adults that be bullying people, man. Nobody wants to feel disempowered, especially when their power has already been taken away from them. We're talking about a kid that's growing up in an impoverished situation. It's already disempowered. That's like already right. That's one hit right there, right? You're growing up in an impoverished environment. And when you are being socialized, right? It's not like he's living in an island by himself with his poverty, but no, you have to go to school and interact with other people who maybe most likely more well off than you, right? So there's comparisons. And then especially with the age we live in with social media, it's even worse. Yeah, I don't know if he has a social media account, but that doesn't help at all when a person is vulnerable emotionally and psychologically to go on social media, and because it can't help, but to get caught up in comparisons. And you see that other people are flashing their success. You see other people, are they're flashing, their privilege that you lack. That is going to make you feel a certain kind of way. Going to make you feel inferior. That's going to feed your insecurities. That's going to feed your feelings of sadness, of inferiority, of hopelessness, perhaps. When you are going, like when this kid, let's say, is going on social media, he didn't even got to go on social media. He's got to go to school, and just like he said, he was being bullied. And I made that statement. My supervisor was like, "Oh, well, there are other kids who was bullied." He gave the example of himself. He was like, "I was bullied in school. Kids were picking on me and threatening me, but I didn't go out there and shoot people." But then he also mentioned that when he would go home, he would tell his father, and his father would come to bat for him and say, "Yo, somebody else bully you, I'm going to go up there and, take care of it," right? Which a lot of parents do. They act as a buffer for their children. This kid clearly didn't have a father figure in his life, right? He had a grandmother. If he had a father figure, an active father figure in his life, that school shooting perhaps wouldn't even have happened, right? He had his grandmother. How much can she do, right? She probably barely able to take care of herself. All right, so next I'm going to do, and I think I like about these paintings is that sometimes they're very simple. So they don't require that many colors. So the next thing I have left is like her belt, her necklace, her skin, and then the background and her staff, and that's it. And I'm going to the next one. But I'm trying to decide what color. Green. Yo, maybe I should do green. But the necklace is going to be interesting. Alright, so usually I go and rinse off the paintbrush, but I don't want to keep getting up, so I'm going to have to find a system here where I'm just going to probably pull out another paintbrush. Let's see. Yeah. So he didn't have that buffer, right? I went straight to it, because I know the mind of a terrorist. I know the mind of a terrorist, right? I've sat there and I've studied the minds of terrorists. And honestly, not to justify the act of terrorism, but I can identify with their state of mind. I can identify with it greatly. Now, I said green, right? Mix this color green and this color. This is lime green and this is sap green. But I said to my supervisor, I said, he didn't have the support. He's lacking. You can tell when a kid, he ain't got nobody, right? A person that got somebody, you're not gonna go out and do that, right? The people are buffer. That's why when we're assessing a person's risk for suicidality or homicidality or just causing danger to themselves or other people, a big factor in that assessment is looking at their social support system, yo. And lack of social support is a huge risk factor. It's like, go figure, this kid ain't got no goddamn friends. He ain't got no family, pretty much. I mean, his grandmother, but barely got her. If he had her that much, he wouldn't have killed her ass. He didn't even have her, right? So, he ain't got no damn body. Think about this. Put yourself in that situation, right? You're going to school, you're being bullied. People, they're picking on you, you know, and it's obvious you already got these feelings of inferiority, given that you're poor. You're probably not even well nutrition, right? You are at a disadvantage. You don't have support. You don't have the family support, let alone friends at school. And on top of that, you're being bullied. It's just like, come on, what do you expect? He has no reason to care about the next person, to have any empathy for anybody else. In fact, he's going to make other people feel just as hurt as he feels. So people want to say, oh, they feel bad about the victim. Shut up. I feel bad for his ass to go and do something like that. Now his ass is dead. And it's funny because I didn't even know that he got shot and killed. I say, well, now he got to live with, this is what I was telling my supervisor. I said, now, unfortunately, he got to live with the consequences of his actions. And he was like, what? He's dead. I was like, damn, they killed his ass. I didn't think that they would kill him. Now, that goes back to the other Buffalo shooting. His ass is still walking around alive. How the fuck his ass still alive? He went in there and killed all those black people in the grocery store. They didn't take him down on sight, but why the fuck they took the damn kid down on sight? Now think about that now. And people want to say, oh, racism is dead. We live in a post-racial society. How the fuck can you say that when it's clear as day, yo? It's laid out. That was a white man that went in there and killed those men, those people in Buffalo. He was white. What was the ethnic background of the shooter in Texas? The kid? He went white, right? He was a racial minority, as they call it. So I'm like, y'all full of shit, man. You got white people that were like, nah, you know, y'all don't give a fuck about black and brown people. So when something like this happens, I'm not justifying it, but I'm saying I can definitely, it's clear, it's very easy to understand, shall I say. I think I'm going to have that green, this green on the button here. It's like, there's like a piece of the necklace. It's like a button. I think I'm going to the common piece. I can do like a feminine color, but I think I'm going to do green as that common piece. I just find like a lot of people to be oblivious, right? Like they're so remiss, they're so blindsided and negligent to their own biases, their own perspectives, their own behavior. They go point the finger. But if you really dissect the response, which I find more interesting than what actually happened, than the actual shooting. I mean, for me, I look at like, yo, the shooting is kind of, I wasn't so surprised. I mean, it's an unfortunate event, right? But it's not like, I'm like, oh my gosh. Because it's like, what the fuck do you expect, yo? Like, y'all act like y'all walk around here with rose-colored shades on. Like, y'all do not see the atrocities, the fucking dysfunction in our society, yo. We live in a jacked up fucking society, man, here in America. This shit is fucked up. All these racial disparities. People are living in poverty. People suffering. Racial injustice. Discrimination. And people walk around here living, it's like night and day, right? I live in Upper East Side here in Manhattan. When I go to the hood, it's a totally different vibe, totally different experience. People walk around getting up, in my neighborhood, get up happy-go-lucky, going to walk down the sidewalk, getting ice cream, walking with their little dogs and shit. Dogs got on very expensive clothing, probably dressed better than a lot of y'all watching this video. Just with the appearances that they don't have a care in the world. Not to say, of course, their life is perfect, but I'm just saying, though, to set the stage. And then you go a couple miles up the block, and it's a totally different scene. People are impoverished. People don't even know where the next meal is coming from, right? People living in hole-in-the-wall, dilapidated buildings and shit, But we want to sit here and talking about, oh, this is America. This is the land of the free, the land of milk and honey, and where people's dreams come true and all of this shit. It's just like, it's bullshit. And so when these atrocities happen here in America and they're publicized in mainstream media and people are talking about it and all hyped up about it, and I'm just like, I look at America as a cancer, and what we saw is remnants of a cancer cell, right? That's just what cancer does. It eats away at itself, right? So this kid went in and killed other innocent kids, but we are all part of one body, right? America is like one body, one big body, and it's a big cancer eating away at itself, right? So one have to go and look at the root cause of what's causing the cancer in the first place. Not to look at the actual cancer cells, not to look at these different events that are happening, these acts of terrorism, and be like, okay, we need to do something about this kid, right? Or we need to do something about guns, or we need to do something about rap music. That ain't gonna change nothing. You can take away the guns. It could probably, of course, it's gonna have a drastic effect in a sense where it's gonna make it difficult for people to be able to kill. But if a person has in their heart and mind to kill, they're just gonna find another way to do it. Now, in thinking about the cross-cultural, and cross-national differences between, what could I do her necklace as? It's going to be different colors. But looking at those cross-cultural and cross-national differences, right, in terms of terrorism and school shootings. I mean, you got a lot of countries they have zero school shootings, right? You don't see kids, going in and shooting kids in Liberia or Nigeria, Ghana or Ethiopia or Tanzania. Like, that's not happening there. And one can say, because they don't have access to guns, okay, right? But even if they did, will that happen? No, certain things just are not going to happen because that's not part of their culture, right? They have a totally different culture. We have to admit that in America, there's a culture of selfishness. There's a culture of lack of empathy. People really don't give a fuck about the next person, Let's be honest. People only care about themselves, their own family, their own well-being. And they can justify it and say, okay, that's what they're supposed to do. I think I'm going to do purple. This color. Yellow. Ooh, purple and yellow. Purple, yellow. And this is a really bright yellow too. Should I do orange? I like to do obviously like bright colors that contrast each other. Or I can just do, that might be enough. These purple and yellow. But this is just the nature of our society. It is what it is. A lot more things have to change, And this kid is just, he's one example. He's doing what a lot of other people feel in their hearts to do. So to point the finger at him and be like, oh, this kid is bad. No, he's a reflection of, he's like a microcosm of issue that is impacting a lot of people, right? A lot of people have in their heart and mind a desire to just fuck it up and end it all for a lot of people. Do they do that? No, but could they be in a position to do that? Hell yeah, I believe so. I believe anybody is capable of being a terrorist. To be honest, the right circumstances. It's possible. Alright, let me put out my other stuff. Paintbrushes. Here we go. This kid was chosen. Oh, should I? Oh, okay, I'm gonna do that purple right there. Let's start with purple. Part of her belt. But yeah, this kid was chosen. Now there are a lot of details in the story that make people question, like, yo, was this a setup? Did they fucking orchestrate this as they do everything else? I think it was orchestrated. Nothing happens by mistake, right? Everything that happens is divine. Everything that happens in divine timing. So, oh, this shit gonna be fire, y'all. I know y'all can't see. I'm gonna show y'all when I finish. So after I finish all 4 of these paintings, I am gonna come back and do another video and show you guys what they look like. We're talking about a country that can predict the number of prison cells needed in a 10-year span, 20-year span, to house incoming inmates who at one point in their development were deemed to be illiterate, right? This same system that's designed to predict how many black men will be filling those cells up in a given period, in a given year. There's a correlation. They already did the research to say that if you have certain scores, certain literacy scores, what is your likelihood that you're going to end up in prison? They got the science down pat, yo. They got the math down pat. This is a society that prides itself on scholarly research, right? And being able to assess and detect trends that are happening in our society. We are highly advanced when it comes to being able to detect things that are going to happen before it happens. Yo, let's just be honest. Now, y'all acting like this is new information. This is not anything new. I was just having a conversation with a colleague at work, and I'm like, yo, they know when people are going to commit a crime before they even do it, yo. So don't sit up here and make it seem like, like these motherfuckers know it. In fact, they concocted it. That's how I look at it. That's all them, man. It's just all white people, yo. And I say white people because white people are the ones that are in charge. They are in control of this shit. That shooter, just like any other, that's their baby. And that's what they want to see happen. I mean, fine. That's why they say that those responding officers, they just sat out there, outside the school, just standing out there up under the shade, chilling. Cause they had to sit back and let nature take its course, yo. And nature damn sure took its course. That was designed and destined to happen. And there will be more to come. I like to be around people who are thinking people. Much of society that you guys are around, right, and has responded to what has happened, y'all give this emotional reaction, and it's good. I think, yeah, it's good to obviously be in tune with your emotions, but at some point get beyond that, right, and to be able to think about a situation logically, critically. I need y'all to think, okay? Use your thinking brain. We have enough of the emotional brain. Use the thinking brain. My thoughts were, this is before this has even happened, right? As we were nearing the end of the pandemic, or pandemic, shall I say. And it's like, okay, that was a whole 2-year fucking psyop in and of itself right there. Right? Or it began 2020. So that's 2020, 2021. Well, 3 years, right? That shit was planned and strategized. That served a purpose greater than, oh, we want to keep the world safe, right? That's what they told y'all ass on the surface, and y'all bought into that shit. But nah, man. If only y'all knew what happens behind the scenes. And I know a lot of y'all be like, oh, conspiracy theories, da, 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 da. It's not conspiracy theories. It's called using your brain and think and analyzing things, yo. Which a lot of y'all motherfuckers don't do. Y'all believe everything that they tell y'all on the media. And that's sick. It's like, that's sometimes y'all benchmark to verify if something is true or not. By saying, oh, well, is it on the media? Is it on Fox News? Is it on, did CNN say it? Did Fox say it? Okay, if they ain't said it, I don't believe it. That goes to show you how dumbed down humanity is, y'all. Yes, honey. I was gonna do like red, yellow, and green as the colors, but instead I chose to do purple, yellow, and green. I might mix it up on the next one. We'll see. All right, next up is my favorite part is doing the skin. And then the background is next. Now the skin, I like to put some red up in there. And definitely black. And this is raw umber or like dark brown. And I'll do this color, red oxide. So let's get the mixing. Let's get to the mixing. Yeah, my thing is, like, my approach is questioning. You know, like, hold on, they up to something, you know. What are they up to? And with, like I said, with this 3-year stint of being, going through this pandemic, right, and, you know, they shut down the entire world, right, and quarantine and all this bullshit. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, yo, something about to happen. What the fuck is about to happen? And given that everything has been put on pause, yo, we talking about like major corporations shut down, the operation of a lot of entertainment, the whole entertainment industry, right? We're talking about no games, no sporting events. No concerts. Like, yo, that things that bring in, we're talking about millions, billions of dollars. All of that shit was shut down. You mean to tell me not at one point did it make you guys? I'm gonna put some gold up in there. But you mean to tell me not at one point that you guys did not question and wonder like, what the fuck are they up to, yo? Beyond this whole goddamn pandemic, so-called pandemic happening. It has to be something else. You mean to tell me, like, and of course that affected crime too. I believe there was a decrease in crime during that period because nobody was outside. Everybody was on fucking high alert, shelter in place. Motherfuckers literally was like afraid for their goddamn life. Even the motherfuckers that probably want to go out there and commit some crimes didn't because they like, hell no, I don't want to drop dead. You got niggas in the hood, thugs wearing masks and shit. I was like, what? I'm like, hold up. This was like the beginning. I'm like, hold the hell up. Y'all buying into this shit? They told y'all ass don't leave the house. They black ass stayed in the house. And these are hardcore criminals, my nigga. So that, to me, I was more surprised to see like how this is going to be so beautiful. But I was surprised, I'm wondering, because I know there are 4 different paintings, 4 different women. But should I have the same skin tone for all of them? We'll see how it goes. Ooh, this is a pretty chocolate, honey, yes! Yeah, but I said this before, like, I was more concerned to see, like, people's blind compliance to it. To these mandates and orders of them telling us what the fuck to do with our goddamn life, you know. I'm like, what the fuck? Everybody was just ready to jump on board without even questioning it. But I did take comfort in seeing that it was in the Midwest where there were a group of middle class people who were like, hell nah, man, y'all got us fucked up. We want to go back to work. We're losing money. Our businesses are losing money. So they did a little protest, but that shit ain't last long. I'm like, nah, man, we outnumbered the ass, yo. If y'all really want to take back y'all goddamn freedom, because that's what really happened. That's what this shit really was about. Taking away, playing with our goddamn freedom, man. Yeah, shouldn't do no damn safety, no health. Fucking safety. Motherfuckers are trying to just take our freedom, and y'all gonna see it's gonna be a lot more changes. Like, none of this stuff happens in vain. They got a reason. It's a cause behind everything they doing. So you just gotta sit and wait and see, okay, what's gonna come out of this? Just like with 9/11. Yeah, it was unfortunate. People had to be sacrificed. But then the bigger question is like, okay, what's gonna happen next? What the fuck they doing with our goddamn liberties? Damn, I love this shit, yo. What colors? Oh my gosh. I mixed like, yo, it was like 5 different colors, right? I did what, dark brown, black. I mixed so many different colors. Damn, I did it. I love this mix right here. You ever do that as when you paint? For those who like to paint, like you get this nice mixture, and you're like, damn, what the hell did I use? I think I showed you guys so I go back. I'm like, damn, this is a fucking perfect mix. I know I got red up in there. You're like, damn, this shit. That's how I be when I be painting. I be like, fucking having orgasms, yo, for real. Damn, this chocolate, yo. Oh, oh my gosh. But I do have more to say. I'm getting to it in a minute. I'm concentrating here. feel bad. Okay, I'm gonna have to do. I see now, because that's not gonna look right if I have the same tone. I'm gonna have to lighten the tone and do a different tone. But I know how to do that. I know how to do that shit. All right, so yeah, I feel like in the mind of this kid, yeah, I feel bad. I know he was like, I know he had to be really hurting, and going through a lot. It's like when I worked at the prison in California. Of course, I work with inmates, right? I work with people who have committed crimes, very heinous crimes, or as society deems as, heinous crimes, armed robbery, and murder. And in our society, we tend to judge before trying to understand the why. Me, I like to understand the why of things and the how. Without casting judgment, because it's unfortunate. Now, I know in the study of criminology, I've taken a few criminology courses, and the premise is that they explain criminal behavior. I mean, it's different ways to explain or understand criminal behavior, but the main premise is that they look at it in terms of a choice, right? They operate within this whole choice theory. Basically saying people have a choice. Now, in the field of psychology, there are also different theories, right, that we operate under to understand. I'm gonna do this shit. A lot of eraser marks, I think it's. And so, okay, so there is systems theory, which I like to conceptualize human behavior in that context of systems theory, meaning like you don't just look at the individual. Yes, you look at the individual. You don't only look at the individual and their psychopathology to understand why, right, of their behavior. But you look at the context, the social context, first beginning with the family that they are cultured by. Then you look at the external system outside of the family. It could be church, right? Or it could be gangs, right? Or any kind of organization that this person is attached to have a sense of belonging. Because that's an innate need that we all have. We all have a desire and an inkling to belong, to feel accepted, right? So some people take to religion to feel accepted, to belong. Some people take to gangs. Some people take to sororities and fraternities, right? So that's another outside layer, outside of family, that does have an impact on a person's behavior. Then there is media. Media plays a major role. I think that's what the media in and of itself was trying to explain, but they were linking it to rap music, not even pointing out their own role in shaping the minds and behavior of these young people. When you think about historically what has been the pattern, the age of people who have gone out to commit terrorist acts and these school shootings, it is young people, people under the age of 30, mostly in their 20s and teens, who have went out and committed school shootings, right? So what is it about the media that is contributing to this trend here in our country, in America, when you don't see it in other countries? They make it sexy. They make it attractive to go out and do that because you become famous. You get attention. If your ass was a nobody, which this kid unfortunately was, or at least that's how he felt, shall I say, like a nobody, then now yo, I went to Google school shootings, right, to get a little bit more information on the most recent one. And this kid is already on the fucking Hall of Fame. There's a list, y'all, on Wikipedia of school shootings that happened here in America. And he's already at the top of the list. He made number 3 in terms of the death toll, right? So the media plays a role in that. They make it sexy. They make it attractive to go out and do that. Because you get all this attention, all this notoriety for killing. That's why I think it's so funny. I was looking at this fucking, because I had went in the staff lounge where I work. I was getting my lunch. And my colleague was there. He was eating his lunch, but he was also watching the news. And they're doing this fucking press conference, and I guess it was a sergeant or chief, some motherfucker, high official, right? This white man in his goddamn uniform crying, like he was crying, like trying to scrunch up his face, like he really give a damn. You could tell, like, motherfucker don't got no connection to what happened. Like he's emotionless, he's heartless, but he's trying to put on this show, right, to display this socially acceptable emotion that he know damn well he don't feel on the inside. I thought that shit was, I laughed. I like, this shit is a fucking joke. You got to be kidding me, yo. This shit is hilarious. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, given that this painting is like, so this painting is one of, like, is where it's like an overlap. It's good enough. Alright. Maybe I can add, let's see, put some yellow ochre. Because you guys will see, but I want to make a distinction between the color of her skin and the color of, you gotta make a distinction between the color of her skin and the color of her sister's skin that's next to her. So you guys will see how I do this. Okay then. So that means though, if I'm doing this, which that's gonna be the next one. I'm gonna have to, I see now. I gotta add more so that I make sure I have enough. Because it has to be the same color, right? Yes, it has to be all the same color. I gotta get some more copper. I use copper a lot. I love that. The glimmering, the shininess. Alright, what else? I use this color, ochre. That's one thing that about me, I am super generous when it comes to pouring out the paint on my palette here, because I'm like, I gotta paint for days, but I do. There we go. Alright, there we go, alright. This is my favorite part, you guys. As I said, I like seeing this canvas transform, especially when it comes to the skin tone. White to chocolate. But it's definitely a joke. people be acting like they don't know how. How could this happen? Oh my gosh. You don't know exactly how this fucking shit happened. This shit is inevitable to happen. And more will come. Keep fucking playing. There we go. Now, what color should I do the background? I might paint the background last. I am, because... Oh, that's gonna be... Oh, yes, honey. Yes, yes, yes. Alright, next. This is cute. Boom, boom, boom. Alright, so usually I do like the skin last, but I'm gonna go ahead and continue with the skin, given that I've already started here. And then I'll go to her dress next. But, so, yeah, I was saying like not enough like attention, or at least attention to understand the mindset, right? The psychology. Damn, I don't know if I got a big ass hair, but I feel like I had to make the head like proportionate to the body. So at first it was like smaller, but then I exaggerated her head. The next one, y'all wait till y'all see these. Yeah, so yeah, I think on one hand it's like, okay, it's a catch-22. Like, on one hand, okay, we give attention to the shooter, which obviously has been done. They already released the guy's name. I think they're reluctant to do that if he's under 18, but the guy is 18 years old, so they released his name, he got his face on there and all of that, right? And so on one hand, yes, it's dangerous to do that, because now you got other kids who definitely identify with him. Like I said, he's not the only person. He's just a reflection of many others who feel the exact same way he's feeling, right? Who are going through the exact same thing. Sometimes in life we think that we are the only one in our situation. We're the only one who think this way. We're the only one who feel this way and who have experienced X, Y, and Z. No, there are so many more. People just keep silent about it. There's a culture of silence, right? And a culture of trying to fit in with everyone else. But nah, we need to just have more open discussion about this. And we are a reactionary society, clearly. So, of course, those survivors at that school, they're going to need a lot of fucking therapy. And I heard that there was a young girl, she put blood on her to fake as if she was dead. She survived, though, right? That it worked for her. But think about it, she's going to need a lot of therapy. Everyone at that school is going to need so much fucking therapy. Even y'all watching who are engrossed in the repetition of these news stories that just won't stop, are going to need a lot of therapy, right? Not even mention the therapy that's needed coming out of a fucking pandemic. And y'all still fucking OCD about catching a virus. And deathly afraid. A lot of therapy is needed. And that's good, but that's more reactionary. What about preventative care? What about having open discussions about mental health in the schools? These kids don't have an outlet. And unfortunately, the way things are in mental health, of course, in the school system, yeah, they have like a school psychologist. I think most schools do, right? They have a school psychologist. Keyword, a school psychologist. So school may have fucking 800, 1,500 kids, but it's one school psychologist, right? Clearly not enough. They have guidance counselors, but guidance counselors usually focus on more academic related things, to prepare them for what their life gonna be like when they graduate. These kids do not have enough mental health support in the schools. They need it though. Even in colleges, they have therapists, they have psychologists that work in colleges. But there's not enough outreach. And even if there was enough outreach, there's still not enough resources. There's not enough psychologists to serve the amount of the demand, right? The amount of students who will be coming in to seek out those services at the counseling center on these college campuses. It's just not. It will be nice. We stigmatize mental health and then we wonder why. Is this... Sometimes I'm a bit confused, like, okay, where's the line? There's a lot of lines here. Which line is it? Alright. But I'm saying in terms of preventative care, perhaps that situation could have been prevented, right? There wasn't no outreach for this kid. If he was seeing a therapist to work through those issues, that could have been prevented. That's my point. Now, some things just are bound to happen, right? Like I said, it's just the laws of nature. Let me add a little bit more in there. But it's just the laws of nature. It's just what's bound to happen. It's ordained. It's predestined. There's no way our society can be as fucked up as it is and we don't expect things like school shootings to happen. No, it's going to happen. It's just nature. That's how I look at that event and other events like it. It's nature. It's natural. That's like, if there's something wrong in the body, you're going to feel signs, symptoms that's going to tell you, okay, something is wrong in your body. As I compared earlier, like, America is a body, right? But it's full of cancer. That shooting is just a symptom. It's a sign to say, okay, there's something wrong in the body of America, in our society. But you want to sit up here and point fingers at the ache, right? That's silly, right? You don't point fingers at the ache. You go to the root cause of what's causing the ache. That's how I interpret this situation and many others, through a systemic lens, not just looking at the individual psychopathology of an individual, but looking at the contextual factors of what helped to shape that psychopathology in that person. It's much easier, though, to zoom in and to look at the individual than it is to look at what's happening on a macro level. It's much more complex. And it's much more difficult to look at things through that kind of lens. When it comes to solutions to the problem. They don't want to fix the problem anyway. They created the problem. They don't want to fix that shit. They like toxicity. I'm convinced and I truly believe that the powers that be, they like this shit, yo. They like to see it. There's movies on it. Fucking movies on purging and shit. Movies on killing. They thrive off that shit, yo. You ain't telling me they don't. Fucking probably sitting back, laughing, smoking a cigar, laughing, enjoying this shit, yo. Sometimes people like to see other people in pain. Especially when they're the one pulling the puppet strings. Just wait. So I was talking about how, you know, my experience in working at the prison, and how oftentimes, yeah, we talk about, oh, it's fucked up, that person went and robbed a bank and killed innocent people, or they stole this person's car and put a gun to their head. Oh, that's fucked up. No, what's fucked up is that we live in a society where they feel that they have to do that shit to survive. That's the fucked up part. That's the part that y'all don't even want to address. I work with this young girl, this young woman, who had killed both of her parents. And so she became one of my patients at the prison where I work in California. I like meeting with her though. She was very ill. She was very sweet. Very mild-mannered. She was very delicate. Very delicate. She was very emotional, which is a good thing, right? Very in tune with her emotions. She was able to feel her emotions. So when I met with her, her presentation was just mostly tearful, which is a good thing. She felt so much pain, and she was just very, very tearful. And, which obviously was grist for the mill. Not only was she tearful, yeah, she was even able to put words to her emotions and talk about her pain that she felt. This girl was in pain. That's what I'm saying, yo. I resonate a lot more with, like, who y'all deem to be, like, a problem in society, right? I resonate with them. Because y'all don't understand that they have pain too. That's the reason why they cause pain to other people, because they have fucking pain. Y'all don't see that part though. It's like, oh, they're evil, they're criminal, this kid did that. But if you had the opportunity to sit down with that kid, maybe you can identify, well, why the kid did it. I think I'm gonna switch it up, you know. I think I'm gonna switch it up. Because I was going to have, like, all of the women have the same color dress. But then I'm like, no. But, damn, that's a hard decision. But I kind of want them to have the same color dress, though. So, they're going to have a little bit of the same color dress, let's put it that way. Somewhat of the same color, but a little off. Alright, so this girl killed both of her parents because she was in pain. Number one, she had been abused by her parents very badly. And just like in the previous scenario, I was talking about the kid, the shooter in Texas, how people will make the argument that, oh, well, other people been abused by their parents doesn't mean they go out and kill their parents. But it's like, what the fuck you expect, yo? Fuck it like that talking. And I noticed, like I said, there's a culture of just being cold and dismissive to people's feelings and emotions, and even people who are incarcerated, who I feel like they have the short end of the stick, right? I feel more for the people who are driven to go out and commit these crimes and end up having to do life sentences or end up getting shot and killed on sight by responding officers, right? Or Homeland Security or whatever. I feel bad for them. It's just like, damn, you know, they didn't really, like, Just think about what kind of shitty life you have to first of all feel that you need to do something, act like that, right? To go out and kill people, right? Like, and then so young, just to be in that position in your life, and you're so young at that point. It's one thing if you done live like a few decades or several, let's say several decades, right? Like you fucking 50s and 60s, and like, okay, you done live a bit of life, so it makes sense. But to be so young, like the patients that I work with, right, at the prison, they were between 15 to 25, young. He's young. But they didn't live life, yo. Life has been handed to them, right? You talking about some unfortunate circumstances growing up, and for people to say they don't feel for them. No, I feel for them even more, my nigga. I feel for that kid, yo, 18 years old. I feel for that kid to have to, to be in a position where, damn, he didn't even feel love enough to not want to kill his grandmother. You know? He didn't even feel loved by no goddamn body. Clearly, we could sit down and have a conversation with that kid, which would have been nice. Be able to sit down and talk to that kid to see. Like, to really develop a close connection with him. Because I know that would be hard. Because it's already hard enough to get males to open up. But when they do, when they open up, boy, you gotta be careful with their feelings and with the information they give you. Because we have a culture in our society where men aren't supposed to be weak, quote unquote, right? Where men aren't supposed to express their feelings. Men gotta be strong and shit like that. So he lived up to that goddamn expectation. He was stronger, right? Right? You want to talk about, somebody said, oh, it's the rap music. Not no rap music. It's this culture in our society. It's a conglomerate of factors, not just rap music. Though yes, rap music does help promote that belief. The idiosyncratic thinking of you have to do this to be cool, right? Or you gotta, go out and commit crimes and be violent, carry weapons to be cool, right? To earn your stripes. But that's not just rap music. That starts in the home, You got parents that reinforce that narrative. That when boys start to cry, like, oh, get up, stop, wipe your tears, stop crying. And not even just at that young age, but even as adults. Like, we gotta catch ourselves. But pay attention. Be mindful of your interactions with people when they become so-called weak or emotional, especially men. And even women. Right? And you see tears falling, and the first thing people say, oh, what's wrong? Right? Like, as if that person should be crying, right? What's wrong? Or, it's gonna be okay. Like, let that person experience those emotions. Stop trying to rush that moment that they are releasing those tears, right? We feel that we need to go and help them to wipe away their tears. No, let that person experience every bit of those tears, because that's where they are at, and they need to release that. They don't need to feel rushed. They don't need to feel like they need to wipe their tears. And that's why a lot of people go in the bathroom and cry, or they cry up under their sheets. I had this conversation with my patients, who are all men. And we were talking about crying and when's the last time you cried. And, one said it's been like years since the last time he cried. Though he has a lot of reasons to be crying now. Especially given the current situation that he's in. But he's been holding back. And then he says, like, when he cries, though, it's always in secret. He's not letting nobody see him cry. Meanwhile, there are other men who, they just can't hold it. Like, fuck, they passed that whole stage of no men can't cry. And they cry, they let that shit out, And it's funny because my team, You know, I've had this conversation with them. And I'm telling them, like, yo, I got several men in my group that cry. And my colleague is like, oh, well, these men, I never seen them cry. They don't cry in my group. And she's been there longer than I have. And I'm like, I create a space for them, right? And I incorporate music. And she's like, oh, yeah, it's the music. Certain songs bring it out of them. I'm like, yeah, you can say that, but it's bigger than just the music, though. It's you creating a space. It's you giving them permission to cry, right? It's you not looking at them like something is wrong with them because they're crying. There's nothing wrong with a person that cries. In fact, it's something wrong with a person that doesn't cry. You should cry. You're supposed to cry. It's just an emotion, right? Like any other fucking emotion. It's an expression of an emotion. I love this color. That's like motherfuckers like, oh, I don't never cry. Or they always happy. Something wrong with your ass. Alright. So her waist, let's see what color. Purple. To have a conversation about crying with men is so powerful. Like, I'm not afraid to go there. Plus, I have a different level of training, right? So, the colleague I'm referring to, she's a recreational therapist. And I come from a different level of training, clearly. But beyond my training, you know, it's just me intuitively knowing when, like, I can feel people's emotions, yo. Like, I'm very sensitive to energy. And I can feel when a person has heavy emotions weighing on them. It's clear as day. And I just be telling these guys, yo, let it out. Just let it out. You holding on to it, let that shit go. And then they just let it go. You gotta show empathy towards people, man. We don't have enough of that. That's why I got so offended. I know I keep bringing it up, but I got so offended when this motherfucking bitch supervisor I had back in LA gonna write a letter to my school saying I lack empathy. And I'm like, out of all people, like, you got that shit wrong. But she was making things up because she had an interpersonal issue with me that was difficult for her to face and resolve. So instead of her facing it, it was easy for her to make up a lie about me, right? To try to sever that relationship that we had. So she made up a lie about me. But I'm like, that's some bullshit to say I lack empathy out of all people. Because I'm very sensitive to emotion. And I can definitely feel when a person is... I need to add... I can definitely feel when a person is holding emotion. The guys I work with, I just like, let that shit go. Let it go. It happens a lot, yo. People be crying in my sessions a lot. But it's time for them to cry. That's how I look at it. Because they've been holding on to these things for so long that finally they can let it go. Just let that shit go, man. And I cry with you. I'm that kind of therapist. Like, not that I'm just going to be out there bawling and crying, no. But if I feel like crying, like if the emotion has welled up in me so much that I have tears, I'm not gonna sit up here and try to fake like I'm gonna hold on to the tears. Like, nah. I'm a real therapist, yo. Very relational. And I will cry. Like when I had a patient that I was seeing back in LA, and she, okay, this is a dress part. Like, wait a minute, what part am I painting right now? But she had a psychotic break, and she had several in session with me. And she broke down. I think it's just like this. It's this energy that is unspoken, right? That happens in the therapeutic process. It's like something you really can't put your finger on it. You know, that's why the interaction of being face to face in therapy is so important, because there's just certain elements of in-person psychotherapy that are needed, that transpire, that you don't see through a screen, right? That don't happen actually through a computer screen. It's the energy. It's things that are happening on a subconscious level that are being transmitted. And a client, a person can go to one person for therapy, right? And just have a different dynamic when they go to another person for therapy. Different things are going to come up, right? And so I think that it speaks to this part of me, because a lot of y'all just don't know, right? But it's the reason why I've been through a lot in my life. I've went through the things I went through in life, rightfully so, for a reason. So I bring something different to the table as a therapist than a person who hasn't been through the things that I've been through. Right? It's like almost like you got to go through it, and you'll have patients, clients that'll say like, yo, I need me a therapist that can relate, that been through some things, right? Because it's just certain things you don't even got to explain. Goes without having to explain. It's just there. I want you guys to see. But it's just there. And that connection, that unspoken energy that is in the room, that you just feel it, yo. Alright, next is yellow and then green. But yeah, she broke down. There were a few times she couldn't even bear the emotion, and she just had to leave session. She just couldn't bear it. She just got up and walked out, ran out, really. She was running out my sessions, yo. It's not that I was saying so much to put her in that position. It's just the dynamic in the room that was created. Couldn't bear it. And then one time, yo, she exploded. She ran out my therapy room and she exploded in the hallway, yo. I'm like, that's what's supposed to happen. You talking about change? People say they want change until they really get a chance to experience it. And then change can be scary. It's the reason why, yo, she ran up out that motherfucker. Because that shit is scary, I'm telling you. When you're dealing with a therapist, a skilled therapist like myself, who knows how to excite that kind of energy, you gotta be careful who you're dealing with. You gotta be careful. You want therapy, somebody you want to change. But she actually was brought there because her mom, you know, like with a lot of families, you know, there's an identified patient. The family want to bring a particular family member to therapy and put all the blame on them, or really everybody in the family should be in that therapy room. But she took the bulk of the responsibility, right? My client did, unfortunately, and she, you know, was the identified patient and had to come to therapy and really deal with it. It's heavy. It's a lot. It takes a lot of strength. realized it's polka dots. Should I add polka dots? I don't know. I'm gonna add polka dots. So when she had her psychotic break, she ran out of my therapy room, ran into the hallway, and just, she was so weak. She fell down to her knees and just was crying. I looked at it as like that was obviously a cathartic moment, but it was transformative for her. I can see that there was a transformation happening. There's no way you're gonna have that type of It was an act of submission, because before, like, she was the type, when you think of like people have psychotic breaks and they have a diagnosis of bipolar, right, and they become violent and they externalize their emotion where they can do some damage to some property or your ass, right? She was that person, but in that moment, it was a perfect arrangement. It was the perfect moment, because she was having an episode that she usually has with her mom. She didn't beat her mom ass and all of that before, and other people's asses too. But she was triggered in that moment, and the episode was happening. It's like prime, it's prime material for a therapist to see. Like, the episode that has been talked about at home is happening now in this session, and I'm able to witness the episode. And she wasn't able to demonstrate those same coping skills, which is maladaptive coping skills of causing harm to other people and damaging property that she would do at her house. She didn't do that. She could have did that. She could have tore up that goddamn what do you call that? The waiting room, or the hallway that she was in, right? She could have tore that motherfucker up, but she didn't. She fell down to her knees. It was more of an act of submission, and I look at it as an act of surrender. She surrendered. Alright, so I finished the second one, which I'm going to come back to, and make sure that, yep. And, okay. Alright, so this is the third one. I have two more to go. Should I switch up? I think I'm gonna switch up the color a little bit. Yes. So the color I've been using on their dress, I'm actually gonna use for her skin. So I'm gonna paint her skin that, but I'm not gonna start with the skin, or I'll start with the skin. But I thought it was beautiful. And so in that moment, she was like, she dropped onto her knees. She was just surrender. Not causing harm to nobody, but she was just breaking down. Crying. She was boo-boo ugly cry. And I felt it. I felt her pain in that moment, and I kneeled down with her, and I was rubbing her back, and I cried with her. And she returned to therapy, and we talked about it, and she told me that she never had a therapist that cried with her. So it was like a shock to her. But I'm like, yes, I'm a different person. I'm not about to be sitting here to be crying, like, nah. Crying just because people cry in therapy. But if I feel moved and it's just like I feel overwhelmed, like, yo, I will release those tears. Alright, so this one, maybe I might keep the same motif. I was gonna switch it up. I might keep the same color. Alright.
I tell my patients like how I'm feeling. Like if I feel sad, based on the interaction that I'm having with them in therapy, like I'm letting them know, like I feel sad right now. Like, I feel like crying, and then they'll be looking at me, you know. And I think it's like it's therapeutic and it's transformative because we're talking about a group of people that their emotions have been numbed. They have issue with connecting with other people emotionally, identifying their own emotions, let alone emotions of other people. They struggle with that. So through this process, and I come from a psychodynamic approach and a relational approach, they're able to have to experience this emotionally corrective experience, right? And learn that it's okay to express their emotions because I demonstrate that. I model that in front of them myself. I know what I bring to the table as a therapist. That's why I'm like, yo, this place where I work, they with that bullshit. And now they coming to realize I won't be there that long. The conversation with one of my supervisors, the clinical psychologist. All of my supervisors are clinical psychologists, but some have specialties. And so she's like, oh, so why would you tell the department head that you're leaving 6 months before you leave? Yo, you don't know me. I'm just looking out for y'all motherfuckers. You know, because when I leave, nigga, I'm out of here. Ain't gonna be no renegotiation. And I think because she works on the borderline unit, of course, her frame of reference is like, oh, maybe this is just manipulation or borderline kind of behavior or a decision, right? Just made off impulse. Like, if I'm saying I'm going to do something, I'm like expressive, right? I'm not just saying this just, oh, I'm trying to manipulate y'all. Though I can see how it can be looked at that way. And you may feel like you've been manipulated, but nah, nigga, I manipulate my damn own life. This is my life, okay? I have the right to make my own decisions on what the fuck I want to do. And I know I'm kind of going off on a side note here, but it's all related. It's just like, and me reflecting on like my relational experiences with my patients, you know, it reminds me obviously of my worth, my value as a therapist, the work that I do. And if they with their bullshit and I don't see that I'm being appreciated where I am, or actually not even that I'm not being appreciated, it's that I feel like I'm being depreciated, right? It's just like, you know, when you're in a certain environment or having interactions, like you may feel like you're being dumb, like you're dumbing yourself down, right? Or like you're losing brain cells. Like, yo, nah. I want to be in a place where I feel challenged in a good way, and I can see that I'm growing, and I'm not just being taken advantage of and being worked like a workhorse just to do a bunch of treatment plans on patients that I never see. But seeing that, because even though I expressed my perspective on that, and I know I talked about this already in other videos, and then they actually made adjustments so that I wasn't going to be doing treatment plans because I complained about that shit because they wanted me to write treatment plans for patients that I'm not even seeing. I'm like, nah, my nigga, it don't go down like that. So they changed that. But I just feel like, yo, me seeing their true colors. Like, no, when she already showed me your true colors, like, I seen enough. Put it that way. I seen enough to make a decision like, no, this ain't where I want to work ongoing. It's cool, and I feel like it has a lot of potential, which I just had this conversation with my other supervisor. Like, yo, it has a lot of potential working here, but nah, no. Y'all got me fucked up. Trying my damn gangster like that. And another thing, like I said before, like, they don't know me, but this whole working for people, this shit new to me. Like, that ain't even my stilo right there. You know what I'm saying? That's not my stilo to be working for nobody. And so, when you communicate with me, if you feel that you have a position where you can tell me what to do, so to speak, because you feel like you have superiority over me, okay. But you gotta be very calculated in how you communicate with me, because like I know who the fuck I am, and all these labels and titles and positions, that don't mean shit to me. Okay? That means absolutely nothing to me at all. You know, I give respect to everybody. I show everybody respect, especially the patients. But you got some people in certain positions feel like, oh well, I'm in this position, so I can. No, the fuck you can't, cause I will pack all this shit up. Y'all don't know. I will pack all this shit up right now and be out this motherfucker. So, yeah, you're gonna either talk to me with respect, or I'm not gonna be in this motherfucker. I don't have to get my energy in spaces that I'm not fucking appreciated. I had to put that in there. I had to just express that, you know. We're talking about mental health here in this video, clearly, and we're talking about the most recent situation that happened with the school shooter. The hell, this video? This video is crazy. What the fuck? Put on their pants, showing their boxers. This is part of it too. So, yeah, and just talking about ways that this could have been prevented, you know, and the importance of mental health. Getting therapy. You guys feel free to share your thoughts. Meanwhile, I'm also painting, so I'm multitasking. For you guys who are just joining the live. Yeah, it's a lot. So, given that I sent an email out, like they don't know me yet, but they getting to know my black ass. I sent an email out, well, I sent a few emails out. One was like me just expressing, like when they try to talk about coverage, you gotta do, like telling me what the fuck I gotta do. Like if I wanted to be bossed around and tossed around, I would have joined the military. That's what they do in the military. They just give you orders and you gotta jump up. Yes sir, yes ma'am. Fuck that shit. Okay, nah, right? I would have joined the military, but that's not what I am. But I realize I do work for the state, so maybe they have a similar kind of system where they feel like, oh, we just give you orders and oh, you gotta just blindly fucking accept. Fuck that shit. Hold on, what the fuck? Alright, I hope I'm doing this right. Okay, yeah. So, a lot of lines and erasure remarks. So, oh yeah, that's in the email. When they talking about, oh, you gotta do coverage, and them motherfuckers trying to, like, you give a motherfucker an inch, they take a mile, right? So, they like, first, you know, they had me covering for this person who was out on, leave because she lost her mother. So I was covering, like, okay. And when she came back, the understanding was, when she come back, all right, I'm clear. She came back, they gave me more shit to do, right? They, like, I was supposed to be relieved of that, but they gave me more shit to do. And then on top of that, they're like, oh, and can you do late night? Y'all ain't heard me do late night, like, nah, what the fuck? Late night. And then, recently, in, the meetings that we get, right? The meetings, which was like minutes for the meeting for our monthly psych department meetings, right? I read the meetings, the minutes or whatever, right? And she's talking about, oh, discussing fucking weekend coverage. Weekend, like, no, I said when I took this job, I took it under the agreement that I'll be working 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. That's it. Don't be sitting up here and try to slide this extra shit in. You can ask me,
But if you ask me, and I say, no, don't keep asking me that shit. Do not keep asking me, because no, my life is my life. This is my life. Nobody can dictate and tell me what the fuck to do with my life. The other psychologists, okay, that's them. I ain't got to work here. I ain't even got to be in this motherfucker, right? I don't care. No, my life is my life. And so they getting it now, right? But it's, to me, the fact that I have to like even express myself in this way, to me that annoys me. It's like you're pushing against my. If I'm telling you no, like no. I when I signed on, I agreed to do this. That's it. Do not be adding extra shit. And the fact that I have to like even have this conversation is annoying the shit out of my nerves, yo. It's annoying me. That to me is so annoying, and I just find it very disrespectful. I even have to have that kind of conversation. Yes, it's so disrespectful. So I'm gonna do yellow for the belt here. Right? This is like, why do I even? I shouldn't have to. The fuck? Have this conversation. Explain my goddamn self, yo. And there's so much. So then I saw I saw the department head, right? Who I send the emails to, expressing myself like, I ain't with this bullshit, man. I seen her, like, so happened where we were leaving the building at the same time, walking down the hallway. And I think we was on the elevator at the same time, walking down the hallway. And then she was like, yeah, you know, I'm saddened to see that in the email you said you was going to be leaving us, because yeah, part of that same email I said like, listen, you know what, I'm about to be out this motherfucker. Like, first I had to say, first of all, when I took this job, I took it on understanding I'm working 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday, not no motherfucking weekends. That's the first of all. The second of all is, by the way, yeah, December when I finish my hours, I'm going to take another position. So, okay, here we go. And then since she was addressing that, we talked about it face to face, right? She was like, I'm starting to see, like, y'all think it's a game. So she was like, she was going to leave. I said, well, you know what? Because this is just my kind heart, right? Like, I have a heart. And that's my issue sometimes, where I feel bad. I care more about what the other person feels than what the fuck I feel. It's called self-care, setting boundaries and sticking to them shits. That's what I'm working on in my life. So in her way of manipulating me, like, oh, I feel bad, you're going to be leaving us. And I was like, well, there could be a possibility that, you know, I may stay, right? I may stay, but yes, I'm exploring my options, right? Other opportunities in this. And I didn't go into detail why. It's pointless to me to even have a conversation on why, okay? Because they don't listen. I don't like to waste my breath to talk to motherfuckers that is going through one and out the other, or you just being dismissed. So no, it's pointless, right? But she was like, I was just telling her like, yo, just let the motherfucker know, like, listen, don't play me like this is my only option, right? Or like I need this motherfucking shit. No, I do not. That's not the frame of mind that I come from. I come from a totally different school of thought. I don't need to do shit but stay black and die. That's my belief. Truly. Which they don't know me, but they're getting to know me. So then she was like, oh, well, I see. Okay, well, it's good that I have a little wiggle room to try to redeem you and convince you to stay. What is that going to be? I don't think nothing they can say going to convince me to stay, because I done seen it all. And so then I had to say to her, I was like, well, I also saw like part of the meeting minutes where you talked about publishing, like you had publishing on the agenda, right? Granted, I had missed this meeting, so I was wanting to see like what was discussed relating to publishing. And so she was like, well, yeah, you know, at one point we had an RB, internal review board, where they were doing research, you know, and academic journal publications. And I was like, oh yeah. And she was like, yeah, but then I guess we no longer have that. So she was like, but you know, we like to encourage you, you know, if you want to write let's say for Psychology Today, and write about your experience working for the state, you know, that's something that we could, you know, talk more about. And I had to laugh at that. I was like, these motherfuckers, y'all. Alright, green. I was like, these motherfuckers, y'all. But that's why I think it's funny when people attempt to try to manipulate me. Especially people outside of the field of psychology. So I'm like, y'all have no idea. Yo, psychologists, just like lawyers, master manipulators, okay? In every sense of the word. Master manipulators. I think it's even more funny, though, when people in the field, right? Like, try to manipulate. Like, yo, you, what the fuck? You don't think that I know that you're trying to manipulate me? I mean, you study psychology just as much as I study it. Like, yo, we do this. We live this. This is what we do. The fuck? Ugh. My paintbrush fell. Alright. I'll get that later. But yeah, it's just annoying. It's annoying. Think shit again. I had to have a talk with myself. I was like, Danielle, just try to keep it together. 6 more months. That's how you know my black ass ain't staying there. Cause I'm having a talk with myself about just keep it together for 6 more months. Like, I don't want to be there. If I could, I would quit today, which I could. But given that I've already put in my hours, like I'm working towards my licensure hours, which I could stop here and just continue my licensure hours other places. But I don't want to keep bouncing around. I want to just go ahead and just finish my licensure hours there, where all I have to do is just have them submit one form, you know, and boom, one less thing, right? Versus leaving in the middle of me completing my licensure hours and going somewhere else. Not that I can't get a job nowhere else, because listen, these motherfuckers have no idea, yo. I already got places lined up, ready to hire my ass, ready to bring me on. Private practice and like all different levels. Private practice, fucking other state facilities, working for the city, like all kind of agencies, yo. I'm not even playing. Don't play with me. I make moves. Do not fucking play with me. Because I know I do my job well, and they ain't got no complaints on me. All my shit is on time. And I have a good relationship with the patients there. I actually do my motherfucking work. I don't need nobody holding my hand at all. So they know I'm motherfucking good. But I feel like they already fucked up. That's their mistake. Like for me, this is a point in my life where it ain't got nothing to do with them. It's just a point I'm at in my life where I just got zero tolerance for bullshit. And of course, you give a person wiggle room, right? So there's a little bit of room for error, people to make mistakes, you know, against you. But then that's be the problem too. That's problematic because it's like, okay, they feel like, okay, they fucked up, but it continues, right? You know? And nah, my nigga, y'all got me fucked up. What color? Maybe I can mix. I'm looking at this because I'm like, damn, I think it's the same color, but it just looks a little different. But maybe I can add like a little, that's on the other one. Maybe I can add like a little bracelet or something. Alright. Now, it's a number of things. Oh, I was saying that for a reason when she was talking about, oh, I can write for Psychology Today. I'm like, I laughed at that in front of her. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna write about this shit, alright, but it ain't gonna be for no goddamn Psychology Today. I'm gonna write about this shit, alright.
Um, oh, best believe, yo, this shit grits for the mill, and that's what y'all motherfuckers better realize. Like, I am a writer. I'm an author. Everything is grits for the mill. I'm definitely gonna write about this shit. It's gonna be a whole damn chapter in my damn book. Might be a whole damn separate book. My psychology for today. Nigga, you talking to a whole entrepreneur out here. Fuck. Psychology today. What the fuck they gonna pay me? Nigga, I'm gonna break this shit a whole book, my nigga. What the fuck? Capitalize. I alchemize everything for my benefit. Fucking play with me. There's so much shit, man. This song remind me of Florida. Miley Cyrus, Wrecking Ball. On the beach. I used to live like 10 minutes from Jack's Beach. What did I say? Oh yeah, so much shit, man. I ain't even about to begin. And I'm done talking. You think I'm like motherfucker about to sit here like I may say something one time about how I feel about something. I'm about to sit here like I'm not a complainer. The treatment team leader, she gonna sit here talking about, oh, never heard psychologists complain so much or whine so much. However she said it, right? I'm just like, hold on. See, shit like that ain't gonna keep me here. Because if I'm expressing myself, like, what the fuck? I expect people to treat me how I treat them, right? So if I'm expressing myself, I mean, if a person is expressing themselves, right, my colleague, which they do very often, this is working in mental health, of course, they have a lot to express day to day. And they express themselves, and I'm listening, I'm providing emotional support. But then if I express myself, yeah, it's a different thing. Like, oh, it's the attitude of, oh, suck it up. Like, no empathy. There we go. Like I was talking about earlier, culture of lack of empathy, right? I'm like, okay. So we just, I'm not here to change no system. I ain't got time for that. It's better to leave, That's how I look at it. I say, oh, well, that can be your opportunity to change. Nah, fuck change what? Motherfucker ain't changing that shit. I let y'all motherfuckers die in that shit yourself before I waste my time and energy trying to change anything. They don't deserve that. It's a number of things. I take note of every little thing. Even if I wanted to do it on a conscious level or on a subconscious level. It's happening. Damn. It's crazy when I do my drawing, It's just like I have all these lines. I think that's just her arm. Do it too far. Damn, that's good enough. Cause it's unprofessional anyway, I'm working in that ghetto ass shit. Cause ain't nobody doing no kind of treatment in that motherfucker. Ghetto as hell. My incense went out. yeah. I can't see. I'm gonna come back when I finish and do another video and show you guys the finished product. What I see where I work is that the motherfuckers don't even give a damn about black people, yo. You can't expect their ass to really be delivering no goddamn quality treatment. They don't even give a damn. The level of fucking treatment or the efficacy of the treatment there is a reflection of how much they give a damn about fucking black people, yo. Because that population, the patient population, is predominantly black. Alright, so this is the last one, and then I'm going to do the background and the staffs. But yeah. So it's clear, yo. I studied this shit. I studied fucking racial bias. The biases are so clear. It's not that I'm not trying to change it. It is what it is. But what colors, yo? This one is a lot more detailed than the other one. So I'm going to start with the ornaments first. I like, just something about doing the skin tone last. Something about it. I don't know what it is. It's just something about it. So, I definitely want to do, let's see. Her hair's fire. See, on the source, it's just like two-tone or three-tone. It's like black and red. But I don't know, I want to make this a lot more colorful. I could just stick with black and red, though, for the colors in the ornament. But, let me see. How are we doing on the battery? Oh, I'm probably about to end this video. 31%. Oh, yo, I'm about to end this video because it's 2 hours long. Alright. So, yeah, I think I said what I wanted to say about that. I want you guys to share your comments below on that, you know, on what happened. And not just that particular situation, but just mental health in general. I think I'm going to go back and add some dots. What color dots? I don't know. Maybe black. Should I do black? Black dots? Polka dots? I don't know. I could have... Yeah, I think I'm going to add... Yellow, do some red, and I'm about to start with her necklace first. This shit about to be fire. Y'all want to stay alive with me? I want a color that's very vibrant, that's going to stand out for her neck piece, so that's what I'm making now. Alright. Oh, damn, this shit about to be lit. Hey, I love it, I love it. That's why I know painting is for me, y'all. When I first started painting back, I can mix it. Oh yeah, alternate. When I first started painting, it was back in 2020. I fell in love at my first stroke of my brush onto my canvas. I know, yes, this is for me, honey. This is for me. Yeah, that black, I think if I do black, that's going to bring it out. The black polka dots. I'm going to put these in my bedroom. Right above my bed. Yes, honey. Ah! Woo! Yes! I love this color. God damn, girl. You is gonna be so fire! Alternate. You know what I'm looking forward to? When I get my space, a bigger space, like a house, and redesigning my place again. I like designing. It was fun, like shopping for furniture. But I've been here since 2020, and it's 2022, so I'm ready for like new furniture. Alright, which color should I do? Might as well keep going darker. Keep going darker. Oh, damn. Yes, honey. Yes, this is gonna be so nice. Oh my gosh. I saved the best for last. Yes, honey. Yes. Alright, and then what color should I do that? Damn, I don't know how to do that yellow. What? Nah, I want to add some. I ain't gonna jump to yellow for that. But I am gonna mix. This is gold. This yellow. There we go. show you guys. You can't see. Can you see? Even if you could see, you wouldn't be able to make out what it is, would you? Oh shit, honey. Yes. Alright, I'm gonna end this video so I can finish this painting. I've said what I wanted to say regarding the terrorist attack, the purge that just happened. Feel free to share your comments below if you guys have more to add. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Love you guys. Bye.